Creating an ownership culture. You know what the difference is between someone who works at a company and someone who works for a company. It's the difference between renting and owning a home. When you rent, you call the landlord when something breaks. You don't plant trees you won't see grow. You don't invest in improvements that won't benefit you directly. But when you own, you fix the leak yourself at midnight. You plant the gardens. You care about every crack in the foundation because it's yours. That's what we're talking about when we say ownership culture. And I'm not talking about stock options, though those can help. I'm talking about something deeper, something psychological, something that transforms how people show up every single day. The problem we're solving. Most organizations operate on what I call the employee-employer contract. It's transactional. I give you my time and efforts. You give me a paycheck. The problem with this contract is that it produces minimum viable engagement. People do what's required. Nothing more. They wait for permission. They avoid risk. They think in terms of job descriptions, not possibilities. And leaders, they often make it worse. They hoard decision-making. They create approval processes that say, "We don't trust you." They reward compliance instead of initiative. Then they wonder why innovation is dead and nobody cares about the quarterly results. This isn't sustainable. Not in a world that moves at the speed it does now. Not when your competitors are out there with teams that genuinely give a damn. What ownership culture actually means. An ownership culture is one where every person from the CEO to the newest intern thinks and acts like an owner. They ask themselves, if this were my company, what would I do? And then they do it. It means the warehouse worker who notices inefficiency in the shipping process doesn't just complain about it at lunch, they bring a solution to their manager. It means the mid-level manager doesn't wait for executive approval to fix a broken customer experience, they fix it and report back. It means leaders don't make decisions in ivory towers, they push those decisions down to the people closest to the problem. Ownership culture is where accountability isn't something imposed from above. It's something people claim for themselves. Where "that's not my job" becomes, "let me figure out how I can help." The three pillars. Building this culture requires three fundamental pillars. First, transparency. You cannot expect people to think like owners if you treat them like children who can't handle the truth. Share the numbers, the real ones. Share the challenges. Share the strategy. When people understand the business deeply, they make better decisions. When they are kept in the dark, they optimize for the wrong things or don't optimize at all. I've seen companies transform simply by opening up their financials to everyone and teaching people how to read them. Suddenly, the design team understands why cutting costs by 10% matters. The sales team understands the margin implications of discounting. Everyone starts thinking about the whole, not just their silo. Second, authority with accountability. This is the hardest part for most leaders. You have to give people real authority to make real decisions. Not fake empowerment where you delegate tasks but retain all control. Real autonomy. But here's the catch: authority without accountability is chaos. People need to know what they are responsible for, what success looks like, and that there are consequences, both positive and negative, for their decisions. This isn't about punishment. It's about reality. Owners don't get to avoid the results of their choices. Create clear domains of ownership. Give people problems to solve, not just tasks to complete. Let them feel the weight and the thrill of genuine responsibility. Third, shared success. People need to win when the company wins. Again, this doesn't have to mean equity, though that's powerful. It means recognition, growth opportunities, bonuses tied to outcomes they can influence, and career advancement that reflects their contributions, more than financial incentives. Though, it means creating a culture where success is celebrated collectively, where helping your colleagues succeed is seen as helping yourself succeed because you're all in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. The leader's role. Now, if you're a leader, you might be thinking, This sounds great. But how do I actually create this? You start by modeling it yourself. You take ownership of your decisions, your failures, your team's results. You stop blaming market conditions or lack of resources and start asking, what can I control? What can I change? You invite challenge. You create safety for people to question decisions, to propose alternatives, to say, I think there's a better way. When someone brings you a problem, you ask them, what do you think we should do? You coach them to think like owners, not just reporters of issues. You push decision-making down. You resist the urge to be the hero who solves every problem. You let people make mistakes, small ones, controlled ones, because that's how they learn. And you protect this culture fiercely. When someone behaves like a victim, you compassionately but firmly redirect them. When someone says, that's not my job, you have a conversation about what kind of organization you're all trying to build. The transformation. Here's what happens when you get this right. Problems get solved before they become crises because people take initiative. Innovation accelerates because people feel safe experimenting. Customer experience improves because everyone owns it, not just the customer service team. Retention skyrockets because people don't want to leave a place where they matter, where they have real impact, where they're treated like adults with brains and agency. The organization becomes resilient. It can adapt faster because thousands of micro-decisions are being made intelligently every day, not waiting to funnel through a bottleneck of executives. The bottom lines: creating an ownership culture isn't a program. It's not a poster on the wall or a value statement in the employee handbook. It's a fundamental reimagining of the relationship between people and the organization they are part of. It requires trust, real trust, not the lip service kind. It requires patience because cultures don't change overnight. And it requires courage because you have to let go of control to gain something far more valuable. Commitment. When you build a culture where everyone is genuinely invested in success, you don't get employees. You get partners. You get people who care about outcomes, not just activities. You get a team that's all in. That's how you build something extraordinary. I recommend reading The Unchained Potential to Rise Above by Dr. Arlen Parham. His book is available on all the major platforms. The book addresses personal growth through biblical principles for personal investment and success. Thank you for listening.